Since the Titanic sank more than a century ago, its story has captivated the world like no other maritime tragedy. Labeled as the unsinkable ship, it was considered a marvel of early 20th century engineering. Yet on the cold night of April 14, 1912, that reputation was shattered when the Titanic struck a massive iceberg in the North Atlantic. More than 1,500 people lost their lives that night, and the ship sank to the ocean floor, buried nearly 12,500 feet below the surface. What happened that night, and why has the Titanic's wreck remained such a haunting enigma ever since? Today, we'll explore the mysteries, the theories, and the unanswered questions that still surround this legendary shipwreck. Construction of the Titanic began in 1909 at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Designed to be the largest and most luxurious passenger liner of its time, the Titanic boasted cutting-edge technology, including 16 watertight bulkheads that were supposed to make it virtually unsinkable. The ship was over 882 feet long, and every detail from the grand staircase to the opulent first-class dining rooms reflected the era's ambition and wealth. Despite the confidence in its design, the Titanic carried far fewer lifeboats than needed, only enough for about half of the passengers and crew on board. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic embarked on its maiden voyage from Southampton, England, bound for New York City. Over 2,200 passengers and crew filled the ship, from wealthy industrialists and socialites to immigrants seeking a new life in America. The ship sailed through the North Atlantic, where iceberg warnings had been received but were not fully acted upon. Pressured by the desire to make headlines with a swift crossing, the Titanic steamed ahead at near top speed despite the icy conditions. To make matters worse, the lookouts on the crow's nest had no binoculars, severely limiting their ability to spot dangers in the dark. At around 11:40 p.m. on April 14th, the lookout finally spotted an iceberg directly in the ship's path, but it was too late. The Titanic's starboard side scraped against the massive ice formation, opening the hole to the freezing sea. The collision compromised 5 of the ship's watertight compartments, far exceeding what the bulkheads could handle. Though designed to remain afloat with up to 4 compartments flooded, the Titanic's fate was sealed. Panic soon spread as passengers were ordered to lifeboats, but confusion and inadequate training meant many boats were launched partially empty or with far fewer passengers than capacity. The chaos that unfolded in the hours after the collision was heart-wrenching. Lifeboats were lowered in the dark, some filled only halfway, while others were overcrowded. Distress signals were sent, but rescue ships were hours away. The icy waters of the North Atlantic claimed many lives as the ship slowly slipped beneath the surface. By 2:20 a.m. on April 15th, the Titanic had disappeared from sight, breaking apart as it sank. The tragedy shocked the world, leading to widespread changes in maritime safety regulations, including requirements for enough lifeboats for all passengers and improved iceberg monitoring. For decades, the Titanic's final resting place remained unknown, hidden in the dark depths of the Atlantic. In 1985, oceanographer Robert Ballard finally discovered the wreckage, revealing a haunting underwater scene. The ship was broken into 2 main pieces, scattered over the ocean floor and slowly decaying. Since then, numerous expeditions have explored the site, documenting its condition and recovering artifacts. However, the wreck remains fragile, constantly being worn away by saltwater corrosion and deep-sea creatures. Over the years, countless theories and myths have grown around the Titanic's sinking. Some suggest there was a secret fire in the ship's coal bunker that weakened the hull. Others believe the Titanic was switched with its nearly identical sister ship, the Olympic, as part of an elaborate insurance scam. Some even claim the iceberg wasn't natural, but the product of sabotage. While these ideas capture the imagination, none have been proven, and the most accepted explanation remains the tragic collision with the iceberg combined with human error and hubris. One question many ask is why the Titanic hasn't been raised or salvaged, given today's advanced technology. The answer lies in the enormous challenges posed by its location. At nearly to point for miles deep, the pressure on the wreck is immense, making it almost impossible for human divers to reach. Robotic submarines and remote-operated vehicles have explored the site, but the ship's fragile state means any attempt to move or raise it risks destroying it entirely. In addition, the Titanic has become a protected memorial site, with international agreements in place to preserve what remains undisturbed out of respect for those who perished. Despite the passage of time and decades of exploration, the Titanic continues to hold secrets beneath the waves. It is a ghostly reminder of human ambition and vulnerability, frozen in time in the icy depths. The artifacts recovered tell stories of lives lost and dreams unfulfilled. The ship itself stands as a monument to a tragic night that forever changed maritime history. Until new technologies allow us to safely study it further, the Titanic will remain a solemn mystery at the bottom of the ocean, a symbol of both innovation and tragedy. If you're fascinated by the Titanic story and want to learn more about the lesser-known details or the ongoing efforts to preserve its legacy, stay tuned for our upcoming videos. The Titanic story is far from over, and every dive into the deep uncovers new pieces of its complex puzzle. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. What do you think was the biggest cause of the Titanic sinking? And would you want to explore the wreck someday? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time as we uncover more mysteries from history's depths.